Joining me live is Jitender Bhargava, former Executive Director of Air India and author of the book The Descent of Air India. Parvez Damania is ex-Executive Director of Kingfisher Airlines. Dr. Sumeet Suseelan is Chairman, Divine Air, and a member of the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the government. But I want to start with Sanjay Lazar, who's an aviation expert and CEO of Aviala's Consultants, who's actually put out a post on social media that's getting a lot of attention, where he has taken on IndiGo and suggested to them with figures and data that the compensation that they've announced, Sanjay, is embarrassingly low and not in keeping with what they should be paying to impacted passengers. Tell us why you say so, Sanjay. You're on mute, Sanjay.
Thank you, Shiv, and good evening to you and to all the other panelists on the show and your audience. Yes, of course, I put out that tweet because I think this is an embarrassment that IndiGo has set out. The entire economy was crippled, and thousands and lakhs of passengers inconvenienced from the second night, the third, fourth, and fifth, and to then say we are with you all the way, and we'll pay you 5 and 10,000. I mean, this is a scam. I myself had family traveling, and I actually have boarding cards. They took off. They were delayed in Bangalore. They got mixed with another flight, flew to Pune, overflew, diverted to Mumbai, disrupted flight, led to wheelchair passenger abandoned at Mumbai, made their way back. Now they were not eligible as per the sheet when they tried to log on, because now IndiGo has changed that flight from a Bangalore Pune to a Bangalore Mumbai. I have another group of 50 passengers who contacted me from Ahmedabad to Pune, traveling for a wedding, booked tickets at 5,500. IndiGo didn't take them on their flight, but the next flight was, it was two flights mixed. They didn't take them. They bought tickets on Akasa at 28,000 each. Is this a disrupted flight, delayed flight, or a cancelled flight? From 5,500 to jump to 28,000. I'm getting WhatsApp messages and DMs that people have paid 60, 70,000 on the second, third, fourth, till the caps kicked in. So what is IndiGo doing? Unfortunately, India has a weak passenger charter that is, probably it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Okay, let's get a word in from the others as well. Mr. Bhargava, what do you think of this compensation amount that's been announced, sir, and the contentions that are being made by Sanjay Lazar, saying that this is nothing compared to what it should really be, Mr. Bhargava?
I'll be a little different from what Sanjay has said. Number one, it's a welcome part that the hardship faced by customers at the airport has been recognized. And for the first time, you're having an airline offer compensation over and above what is stipulated by DGCA in such circumstances. Yes, no compensation can be enough because it's a relative term. As Sanjay narrated, that there are people who traveled by paying fare of 50,000 rupees, and if you give a 10,000 rupee travel voucher, it's certainly not adequate. But when you look in the totality of it, you look at the kind of quantum of money that we are talking about, number one. Number two, I don't want this to be a fine print reading. The message says severely impacted passengers will be given travel vouchers.
Yeah.
Now, they can certainly eliminate a whole lot of people into this, number one. Number two, the second point is they should treat this travel voucher as money and not put in stipulation that this can be encashed or redeemed in a lean season and not in peak season when you really want to travel.
True.
There are certain things that the government will still have to act on. Okay, this is a voluntary offer by them over and above what DGCA stipulates. But government must still exercise its authority and say, look, these are the things required. Because what are we looking at? An abject lesson given to IndiGo for what they have done on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of December. Flights being cancelled recklessly, unplanned thing, and it's all deliberate, as the minister very rightly said. It was an avoidable situation. They did not take requisite action. While very rightly said, the chief CEO has been summoned by the ministry, well, let more action follow. Because the passengers were really maltreated, mistreated at the airport. The scenes we witnessed at the airport have never been witnessed by anybody in the past. the quantum, the number of people affected and the reason. And as we all know, even as the flights were being cancelled, DGCA was booking people on those cancelled flights, giving boarding cards, which means they went totally wrong on every aspect. So one is, of course, the compensation. And
Okay.
I fully agree, compensation could
Parvez Damania, how do you see the compensation aspect of it? You know, some harsh words have been used by the Civil Aviation Minister today as far as the IndiGo CEO is concerned and what action could be coming up. He's been summoned tomorrow by the DGCA. But on this aspect of compensation first, what's your view, sir?
No, first and foremost, it was very bad planning what happened. But I don't think in any way, I never think that IndiGo planned such a thing. I think it just went out of hand. The whole thing was not planned or something like people are saying. Second thing, it's good that on their own, they've announced that they will compensate apart from the loss an additional 10,000 rupees, which is a welcome step. Now, we have to see what the minister decides. But I think now it's time to put things behind and start all over again. Because I think the story is going on and on and on and on. I don't think any company would deliberately do something this stupid and hurt themselves this badly. They've also suffered, and I think people are saying things were handled very badly. I agree with you. But at the same time, I don't think the airport staff had any option or they had anything to do with this whole story.
Yeah, okay, I know your point is taken, sir, but I would differ slightly when you say that they didn't plan for this. I'm sure they didn't plan for this or want this, but one cannot deny that there is a certain degree of corporate arrogance that has led to this entire situation. Certainly, a company that dominates 60% of the market share and is the 9th largest airline in the world, India's biggest,
I agree with you.
couldn't have planned for such a thing. And allowed such a thing to happen. They should have been able to foresee it. They should have played by the rules. They thought they didn't need to play by the rules.
If we were so concerned that at the time that the growth was growing at this speed, the government should have said no.
100%. That I agree with. All I'm saying is I don't think we should be so light on IndiGo. They should be called to book for what has happened. And I have been thinking all day today. I've asked my colleagues, I've asked some experts, can we put a figure on the economic damage that's been caused by this entire crisis between 25th November and December 11th? I've even asked some AI models for a figure, and I've come from everything from 4,000 crore to 7,000 crore. I don't want to be irresponsible and put out those figures, but I don't think people are fully appreciating how many lives have not only been impacted, but probably destroyed. The course of people's lives in their thousands have changed because of missed flights, and we are still not getting that full picture. So, Mr. Dr. Suseelan, tomorrow when Peter Elbers, the CEO of IndiGo, presents himself before the DGCA, there's a lot of public anger, but due process must happen as far as this is concerned. This is a big company. Everyone realizes that if anything happens to this company, it will be disastrous for India's economy as well. But what would you say is going to happen when Mr. Elbers presents himself tomorrow in front of the DGCA? What should happen?
Good evening, Shiv. This is not the first time Peter is coming to DGC office now. This is going to be the second time after the incident. And this time he is coming with all the reports. This time we had summoned him to come with all the reports because now we had officially put around 20 officials from DGC office in headquarters of IndiGo. All the documents are searched. We had checked what all things had gone wrong. Now Peter is going to come with all these things to office and going to give all the reports. So we will come to know what is the real picture about this, why entire thing happened. But now we have to understand, this is not, we know the public has faced a lot of problem, but IndiGo had so far returned more than 1,000 crores to everyone. And the amount, definitely the vouchers which they are giving, 5,000, 10,000, is not the amount which a ministry is expecting them to give. It's going to be way too big amount which they will be compensating to every passengers who are flying with IndiGo. Definitely these 3 days had given a lesson to the entire aviation industry that what steps have to be taken. And I'm pretty sure the lessons which they are going to get, because they already got the hit of 230 sectors. 230 departures is going to head, because totally they have around 2,300 departures now, out of which around 230 is going to get hit. it's a huge loss for them. That to be the sector which are very lucrative. If you say, take an example like Bombay, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, these are most profitable sector for them. Now the government has already taken initiative to take out this sector from them and give to the other competitors, so that we have a equal opportunity for every airline in India.
Okay, I'm just wondering how this is going to happen because of IndiGo's dominating position. So I wonder how that's going to actually take place. The other aspect, we're going to be watching very closely what happens tomorrow at the DGCA. I agree with Mr. Damania when he says what has happened is unfortunate and we must be looking ahead. But as we look ahead, Sanjay, one must also be absolutely certain that the people who are most affected are duly compensated and are able to get on with their lives. IndiGo is a large company. Surely the minimum expectation will be, that people are able to find some closure to the traumas of what has happened in this time. You're on mute, Sanjay. Again.
Absolutely, Shiv. And for that reason alone, I believe IndiGo is a great company.
It is.
In the gold standard of, very sharp operations. But a lesson must be set which will go across for all airlines for all time to come. Let's not forget, if you read the investor readouts made to the stock exchange by IndiGlobe, by the CEO and CFO, not even, on November 4th and 21st May, they said FDTL is not going to affect us. So obviously they had either not done their homework or there was incompetence. The second thing is they stopped recruitment of pilots. So there are some missteps they took, which need to be corrected. Also, these officers going to the DG to their office, let's understand what the FID is. This was the original idea, that you have single officers who inspect all these airlines. They've obviously not doing it all these years. So I hope the DGCA gets its house in order. I hope the Civil Aviation Ministry brings out a new passenger charter which takes out all these grey areas, as Mr. Bhargav rightly pointed out. Those who suffered extreme, problems during this time. No, it's got to be cut and dry, clean, black and white lettering. This is the compensation you will get.
Yeah.
Let it be on par with Europe. I agree. Much as water has flowed under the bridge, let's move on. But let's move on with a clean slate and clean business practices, very important. That has not been the case. Some strong airlines have always muscled their way in the last 30 years, I've seen, whether it was Jet earlier or this airline now. You've always had, East-West. You had problems where people get too familiar with the executive. You need to stop all that. We need to clean house.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Mr. Bhargav, what to you would be an acceptable outcome that moves this forward once tomorrow's meeting takes place? Like Mr. Suseelan said, Dr. Suseelan said, there is an embedded team that the DGCA is appointing to sit at the IndiGo headquarters and look into all their functions and operations. Tomorrow, Peter Elbers will meet with the DGCA. He's been summoned. What is an acceptable outcome to you, sir?
I'll just preface it by a simple comment that IndiGo has had a remarkable 19 years past history of being run professionally.
Yeah.
Having said this, when the minister meets the CEO, when the DGCA authorities meet, they should keep it simple. Question number one, when did you discover that you were short of pilots and why? Answer this question. Number two, if you knew that the pilots were in short supply, you couldn't have maintained your full schedule. Why did you not truncate the flight schedule rather than keep the flights going at every airport in the country and creating a mayhem for the passengers? I'm surprised that the IndiGo's response to the show cause notice by DGCA was that we need 15 more days to identify the reason why the mayhem at the airport took place. It's an open and shut case on where they went wrong. Because prior to December, 1 month in November, let me share with you, 1,200 flights of IndiGo were cancelled. It was unprecedented. 40 flights a day, which means, of course, 40 flights out of 2,200 flights being operated is not going to make a material difference.
Yeah.
But for IndiGo, management to realize that something was amiss. The board of directors of IndiGo to realize that something is going wrong. Did not happen. I am surprised because it's a very simple thing happening in every airline in the world, that when you are in short supply, when your pilots have overdone their 1,000 hours, they're not available in the requisite numbers, what you do, is to curtail the flight. The advantage being you can inform the passengers of a cancelled flight regarding the cancellation. They're being accommodated on all IndiGo flights or on other flights. But here, no notice was given. People went on third to the airport, continued to be on the fourth, false promises being made, no communication from the airline. So all that was him. So this is what I say is criminal, is totally
which is what brings me to my question to Mr. Damania, which is that one aspect of the action is compensation, structural fixes. The other aspect is whether any punitive actions need to be taken, because it's very clear that there was dereliction, refusal to plan ahead, and that's resulted in all of this. Surely there needs to be some punitive action, or is there no space for that, sir?
No, according to me, by just common sense, we do not have much option than to go and live with IndiGo. You have an airline that is 65% of the market share. Let us be realistic.
Yeah.
There is no way anybody in India or anybody international can replace the 65%. There is no availability of aircrafts in the world. There is no company that will come forward to replace this. If it was, when the government saw that one company is growing at a ridiculously fast pace and we will be held ransom by this company, the government should have curtailed or studied their operation or encouraged other players much earlier.
Yeah.
Now we are dependent. Let's be realistic. We may fine them, they may pay the fine, everything. But we cannot sustain the aviation industry in India without IndiGo. Let's be realistic.
What is the outcome that you want to see happen tomorrow, Dr. Suseelan?
Market share plus 1,000 aircrafts on order, confirmed order.
Yeah, huge. Yes, Dr. Suseelan?
No.
As Mr. Damania said, it's like the way they are growing, the IndiGo, they are growing. This is the only time we had seen IndiGo performing in such a way. Otherwise, they always have on-time performance. Even they had replaced the word IST from Indian Standard Time to IndiGo Standard Time. That was the way they had replaced the IST also. People trust them, definitely. But the last 4 days had got a hit for them. And we know this thing because the government is encouraging every small players also. You can see the Udan routes, which have taken the initiative to encourage all the small players to come in the industry. They are getting incentives, subsidies to operate in the Indian sky. But the shortage are of the aircrafts in the world market. There's no aircrafts available. Right now, if you go to buy an aircraft, buy Airbus or Boeing, definitely they're going to redirect you to IndiGo, to lease from IndiGo, or definitely some other company. Because right now also the aircrafts are going to be in the waiting for next 5 years. If you want to place an order for Airbus A320, it's a 5 years waiting.
Okay. We have, my big takeaway from today's discussion is that we need to move ahead, A. B, that passengers definitely need to be compensated. And C, and I would like to echo what everyone is saying, we have to live with IndiGo. I personally have been a loyal flyer of IndiGo, but like many thousands and lakhs of passengers, there is no choice in this country. And I very much value traveling by IndiGo. So there is nothing personal going on here. It is very true that IndiGo is a large airline. In some ways, people would say it's too big for anything to actually happen to it. But that in itself is a problem. Let us not forget the 4 or 5 lakh passengers or more who've been affected by all of this. We're talking about a huge company, but we're also talking about the individual passenger. And at the end of the day, it is the passengers that make the airline. And they feel aggrieved today. There needs to be an outcome that is acceptable to all, whether it is black and white, whether it is cut and dry, whatever you want to call it. It has to be something where people can pick up their bags and catch that next flight with a smile on their face. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with me tonight on India Matters.